A continuación vamos a seguir con una de las charlas estrella de hoy, que viene de la mano de Mario Ubiali. He mencionado antes que tenemos una red internacional de expertos y entre ellos está Mario. Él es el fundador de Thimus, que es una organización que utiliza la neurociencia para entender mejor al consumidor en nuestro sector. Se ha hablado mucho de los conceptos de sostenibilidad y tecnología en la mesa anterior, pero como he dicho al principio, necesitamos que la comida esté rica y que el consumidor la acepte y la compre, porque si no, por mucho esfuerzo que hagamos en producir esa transición, no se va a poder llevar a cabo. So I want to welcome to the stage Mario Ubiali, who is a prestigious member of our squad. He has been with us for more than 4 years. He was on this same stage 4 years ago. And today he will present something very special. Come with me.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you. Hi. Hello. Hello.
Yes. So we are very excited to have him because with KM0 we have signed a collaboration with Thimus to understand the consumer. And specifically for this first study, we will be talking about new proteins. It's a very sexy new topic, but we need the consumer to buy our products. So how do we do it? Understanding them. And for this, I'm going to give the floor to Mario,
Thank you.
and he will share much more. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bea. Thank you. Hello. So I know she just said sexy topic and I'm on stage, so bear with me, guys. I'm doing the best I can.
Up to you, because I just remembered we're in Spain. So
Are we?
yes.
Okay.
So we need translation sometimes. Si alguien necesita traducción simultánea, lo hemos previsto, así que por favor levantad la mano y os acercamos una diadema. Sin vergüenza alguna, para entender al pie de la letra todo lo que diga Mario, que va a ser muy importante.
Gracias.
Os dejo con esto.
Okay, that was just about my Spanish. Gracias, and that's it. Okay, so, okay, guys, so I'm between you and the break. It's usually a very difficult place to be. We cannot really cover everything we discovered through this very innovative breakthrough study that we carried out here in Spain together with our friends and the team at Kilometer Zero. So my goal today is to arise your curiosity and to get you a little closer to the topic. And you will see it's not a surprise, I'm not spoiling anything here, but at the very end of my presentation, there will be a QR code. Get your phones ready for that. With that, you can actually download the full presentation with all data, all comments. So don't worry if we're missing out on some of your questions. There will be plenty of time for you to go through. So I want to try to start the presentation. Okay. I want to start from saying that the question is not in as much new to any of you. Today, we talked about the future, and I really love the keynote speech that Bea introduced us to the day with, which was about, okay, what is going to be the future looking like? And she said one thing. She said it's going to be very diverse and complex, and it has to taste good. So when we turn our attention to so-called alternative proteins, and mind you, let's not go into the politics of it. I chose to use the term alternative proteins because it's widely recognized. I do know that there is debate about whether we need to talk about complementary proteins. I don't want to offend anyone in the audience. I'm just saying, let's just agree that we can agree on that for now, all right? Next year, I'll come back and I'll talk to you about politics and food. So I will never get on this stage about that. But anyhow, so the basic question is, for everyone involved in alternative proteins as substitutes of meat specifically, the why. The what we all know. We know that it's plateauing. We know that there is questions about texture and taste. We know a lot. But what we tend to forget about, or what we started out in this endeavor forgetting about, is the why. So we decided that there was a way to investigate this through neuroscience, and more specifically, through what makes Thimus, the company that I work for, and my team, which is a very special team, part of which is here with me. So if you have smart questions, talk to the smart people, not to me. What we focus on is a specific kind of neuroscience, not the neuromarketing you've heard about, but a specific brand and method that is a lot more complex to carry out and use. It's called cultural neuroscience. Why is it called cultural neuroscience? Because of what you see behind me. Every time you eat something, every time you experience food, that experience is a lot more complex than nutrition, is a lot more complex than what you want to do for your body. It's actually an intersection of mental states, emotions, cognitive effort, culture, demographics, who you are, where you come from. Lately, epigenetics. Emerging evidence from studies of epigenetics point to the fact that we inherit from our grandparents a certain sensitivity to bitterness, sweetness, saltiness. We are the product of all these strata. So is there a way to collect data from the brain of people experiencing food and intersect it with who they are so that we can get a better sense of why? Why do they like it? Why don't they like it? Why do they go back and buy it again? And why don't they rarely go back and buy it again? So I've prepared this very, very, very quick video that I'm going to speak over. There is no audio. We're very bad at doing this. Just to give you some coordinates of the study. This was a 55 people study, including, as you can see, half women and half men, very balanced. We administered in randomized blind order 5 samples, 1 full meat, 1 50% blended, 3 which were 100% plant-based burgers. They were presented to testers coming in and wearing an EEG, and they carried out look, smell, taste, and aftertaste phases. Don't worry if you're missing out pieces. Everything will be in the report. Today, we're going to just touch on some of the main outcomes. So, of course, this is a partnership with Kilometer Zero. So when we started talking about this, the question was, okay, we got to better understand. Oh, look at the guy. We got to better understand what's going on. What do they say? What do they feel? And then cross-correlate those terms. Like I explained before, the methodology is carrying through a full sensory experience with the products, guided by some of our wonderful team, mixed team, as you can see from pictures, and try to extract information from what people say and what people feel and think when they're processing food. So let's cut to the chase and get to some of the takeaways. Okay, I'm going to start from the simple takeaway. Giving humans a valid alternative to meat that they're going to embrace, go back and consume over and over again is a lot easier said than done. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here and there wouldn't be quite a bit of capital being invested into it. So bear with me if today I'm giving you a lot of disillusionment in terms of, really, the guy came from Italy to tell us stuff that we already know? The big news, guys, is that what I'm telling you today is backed up by scientific data. It's repeatable as a methodology. So the big news is not about the insights per se. It's about the fact that these insights are now being proven by something that is publishable. That's the huge difference. It's no longer a political, sensory, chef, I'm a rock star kind of person opinion. So the first piece of data is easier said than done. And what I mean by that is that when you look at how the 5 samples behaved in the brain, you discover some interesting few insights. And I'm going to quickly go through them here. First of all, what are you looking at? What are those graphs? And our director of science is here today, so feel free to bug her at coffee break for more details. But what you're seeing up there is a plot of a value of a mental state that is commonly defined as frontal asymmetry in applied neuroscience. It indicates an instinctive, implicit, instant approach or avoidance instinct. In other words, if you will, we can do that, and then I'll be the victim of my director of science. We can say, roughly speaking, this is a measurement of instant like and dislike, the propensity to consume the food or not consume it. So quickly, to just go to the point here, easier said than done. Why did I say that? Because as you can see, what do you notice? First thing that you notice is that the level of approach, the level of liking decreases. It decreases. When I look at the products, everything is going really good. When I smell the products, I start seeing differentiation. There are products such as the 100% meat product or one of the 3 plant-based, the yellow one, that really do very well. And then, boom, something else happens, which is when you put that product in your mouth, there's always going to be a step. There's always going to be a little discontinuity. The discontinuity is expectation versus reality. That's why my first insight from this study is neurophysiological data shows that the problem with a lot of the products that are available on the market or prototypical blended products is that there's discontinuity between my expectation as a human being and what happens in my mouth and in the aftertaste phase. More interestingly, the aftertaste phase is where, all the game is now played. In the brain, the aftertaste phase is where we're observing the highest cognitive workload. You know what that is? That is the amount of effort you're making to form yourself a judgment, to summarize what happened through your senses. So in the aftertaste phase, it's where you start seeing lines being drawn. I really didn't like this. I kind of like that. And by the way, big news, best performing product in the aftertaste phase, the blended product. We'll come back to that. Takeaway 2, the blended product. Again, you're going to sit there, watch me say, do they really get this guy invited to say that? I am here to tell you that cultural neuroscience has proven through this study a simple principle. The human brain, when it comes to food especially, does not like novelty, does not like unknown. We are wired biologically to avoid being poisoned, to eat something we don't know, say, you know what, let's go out for sushi in the savannah when we are, still in the Homo sapiens early stages. We don't do that. And our brain remembers that. We're wired biologically not to necessarily like approach to new food. And so the question becomes, how do we bring people to the future of food we have been discussing for 3 hours now? I know you're exhausted. There is coffee, by the way. But the point is, how do we get people there, right? It's as simple as what I'm telling you, just because now we have data that over and over and again is proving it. You have to take them by the hand and meet their expectation. And what is their expectation, guys? Their expectation is they don't like new stuff. Have you ever heard of the term neophobia? Neophobia is the tendency of humans to be inclined to try new food or to refuse experiences with new food. Did you know that you can scientifically measure it via a psychometric scale that is actually proven by a ton of literature? Well, we did know, and we decided to measure it in this study. And we identified that our sample was composed by people who, by the way, tentatively are kind of low in neophobia, which means good. We're talking about people who are usually saying, hey, of course, let's try something new. Okay, cool. So guess what happens? Then you look at data and you see that what we can correlate, for example, is the subjective liking they expressed at the end of the tasting on one of the plant-based burgers is very clearly correlated to their level of neophobia. The truth is they tell you that they're very open to this and that, and then you also observe that as you move along the gradient of their neophobia, they refuse, even in a declarative way, to try new food. What's more interesting, let's move to something we measure in the brain, implicit process, here on the right. Look at what happens. People with high neophobia, the best ranking product in liking in this study was the blended product. You know what the insight is? Transitional experiences in food not only represent the only successful way to convert people to better, more sustainable habits, they're actually going to be extremely successful. People are going to love them. There's a message in that. Last takeaway for my limited time, but I'll buy back a minute because of the translation thing. You'll have to be more specific. Why do I say the takeaway is you'll have to be more specific? It's point number 1 of the keynote speech that Bea graced us with at the beginning of the day today, when she said, we will have to diversify the way the future looks. And why? Because probably in this room there are people from, 45 different cultures? Food cultures? Really? We really think that they're all just waiting for a burger? So the point of the matter being, you'll have to be more specific means that, for example, we are the only one company worldwide that is already finding correlations between that measurement in the brain, frontal asymmetry, and consumption or purchase intention. What am I trying to tell you? I'm trying to tell you that the other takeaway from this study is that humans are complex, and what they're going to go back and buy and what they're going to go back and consume is very rooted. So this data refers to the meat burger in this study. And it shows that obviously what is familiar to you is right there, it's straightforward. I like it, I'm going to go back and buy it. I like it, I'm going to go back and consume it again. And this is where we need to be working if we want to convert and transition people to sustainable food experiences. We need to be specific. We observed, for example, that the level of familiarity, cognitive workload is also an expression in frontal asymmetry, the level of liking in people over 40 in this study was varying through the different phases in a statistically significant way. What does that mean? It means that you can be very granular in understanding what's not working for your target. But you have to be mindful that there's not going to be a silver bullet. There's not going to be the one product that kills them all. That's an illusion. An illusion that, by the way, in the study, you will find a lot of data about differences between men and women. Let me not go there. It's very dangerous to go there. But what I mean to say is you can observe that there is, even by gender criteria, by age criteria, there are differentiations. So I guess the final message for me to you today is we keep talking about the necessity of creating sustainable food systems of the future. So we point to the moon. That's why I chose this picture. And then, instead of looking at the moon, we'll look at the finger. We focus on the technology. We focus on the money to be spent into it. The solution has been right there, staring at us all the way, all the time. If we don't maintain a certain level of acceptance of the complexity of the food experience, there is no way we will be successful in transitioning people. No way. And this is proven by science. It's proven by the combination of neuroscience and cultural studies over and over again. And so please get out your phones if you want. Wow, look at this. Now I feel like a DJ or something. So let me get out of the way. No, I'm not that tall, but so please go to the website and download the report. All I can say is this is the beginning of a journey. It's the beginning of a journey for us and Bea and the one fantastic team at Kilometer Zero. And I just want to say that come talk to us. We are trying to help you change the world. But you really have to start thinking in terms of how do I design something that is going to be emotionally and culturally fulfilling for humans. If you don't start from that, there's no way that you can go back and be successful. Not in a million years, not with all the billions that are circulating now. And that's what worries me. We're in Spain. We are in one of the hotbeds of the world food industry. There was a person from your ministry today talking in a roundtable about going to Paris and discovering that Spain has this huge importance in food internationally. You really want to think that the future of food is going to erase that cultural diversity you have in your food systems, that capacity, in favor of one solution? We don't think so, and that's why we think that the mission of Thimus is to help transition into sustainable food experiences. And with that, go ahead and have coffee. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bueno, recomiendo que os descarguéis el informe porque Mario ha compartido mucha información, muchos datos, pero algunos muy sorprendentes. Es interesante saber que podemos contar con una herramienta como la de la neurociencia para meternos en la mente del consumidor y de verdad entender qué es lo que quiere, porque al final como industria eso es lo que necesitamos.